is Mendoza, and this is my presentation on methotrexate. Methotrexate is an example of a drug used in chemotherapy, which is basically a treatment for cancer that involves mostly drugs and other chemicals to kill these specific cancer cells that grow too fast. It is also an example of an anti-metabolic drug, which is basically a type of drug that its job is to interfere with one or more enzymes. And this interruption basically makes it so that DNA synthesis of specific cells cannot proceed. It'll stop at the DNA synthesis phase, which is the S phase. Some of the effects that methotrexate has is that it interferes with the ability for cancer cells to absorb and use vitamin B. So because the cancer cells cannot use or absorb the vitamin, it'll basically stop them from growing and keep producing. It'll basically trigger apoptosis. It also inhibits the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase, which basically makes it so the drug binds to active sites where it can block the DNA synthesis. Since it can block the DNA synthesis, this interruption happens during the S phase, which in the cell cycle, which is the DNA synthesis phase. It also basically it stops cancer cells from making and repairing DNA during this phase. So it ultimately decreases the growth of cancer cells. Methotrexate can also stop the division of normal cells. It's not just cancer cells. The drug targets DNA replication, and it basically continues to slow down cell division throughout the whole body. It doesn't specifically target cancer cells, and that's kind of an issue, because instead of just targeting cancer cells and stopping them from cell dividing, it'll potentially affect all the body cells, not just the cancer, so it'll disrupt the body in general. Some of the more common side effects include nausea or vomiting, sensitivity, diarrhea, hair loss, and some of the more severe side effects that are a lot more dangerous include unusual bleeding, liver problems, kidney problems, and lymphoma, which is another kind of cancer. Lastly, some of the history for methotrexate. It was formerly known as amethopterin, and it was introduced by Sidney Farber and his team of scientists in 1947. The drug was first developed to cure lymphoblastic leukemia in children, which is basically just another type of cancer that targets the lymphoid line of blood cells. In 1951, Jane C. Wright demonstrated that methotrexate was very effective to treat solid tumors such as breast cancer, instead of just being effective at treating cancer in the marrow. And by 1956, methotrexate was performing better than aminoterin, which is basically allowed it to be abandoned in favor for methotrexate. These are my sources for that. And finally, my question is, how could scientists modify methotrexate in order to make it more efficient and accurate in targeting cancer cells? I think one of the reasons why cancer is scary is because a lot of the treatments, whether that be chemotherapy or just radiation treatments and whatnot, is that it doesn't just target cancer cells. It also puts the whole body in danger. A lot of these drugs, like methotrexate, they will stop essential things like cell division, so it is very scary and dangerous to go through these treatments that are supposed to make you feel better and supposed to kill cancer cells, but could potentially destroy very important cells and just the rest of your body potentially. So if you could if we could find a way to make these treatments much more efficient, that would, whether that be through CRISPR or other methods,